Praise Iomade, you woke up. Healing your wounds was easy, but you were unconscious for so long I was starting to worry we'd lost you. We're safe. Nothing can touch us here in the Defender's Heart. At least for now. We couldn't stand up to the Demoness. Her spells were too strong. It's all right. We'll handle it somehow. You blacked out, but Staunton and I managed to get you here to the Defender's Heart. It used to be a tavern, but now it's our headquarters. We're gathering our forces here, and we're preparing to strike back. Demons have been filling Canabras with their spies and infiltrators for a long time. Unfortunately, I don't have enough people to attack the place right now, at least not blindly. I'd be grateful if you snuck in there and scouted out the situation. But just scouting. Don't be a hero.
What's the situation in the city?
Bad, but not hopeless. We're constantly getting news, and new sources of resistance keep springing up in the districts where everyone seemed to be dead. The survivors are gathering here. You should see them. Their faces, their eyes burning with determination. The city is destroyed, but our resistance is not broken. We will keep fighting.
What do you plan to do next?
You heard what the demon said. They're going to desecrate the Wardstone and blow up the whole barrier around the Worldwound. That would be an even worse disaster than the Worldwound's expansion before the Second Crusade. Not only Canabras, but every city with the Wardstone will be destroyed, including the capital. We can't allow that no matter what. We will retake it, even destroy it if we must. Iomade's gift must not become a weapon of the Abyss.
Tell me about the Wardstone. Why is it so important?
The Wardstones are a gift of Iomade. Created personally by her herald, a mighty angel, and a general of the celestial armies. The Wardstones keep the Worldwound from expanding. They stand along the border of the territory controlled by the demons, creating a barrier to keep them inside. The Canabras obelisk was the first to be placed. It is the key to the whole barrier. We cannot leave it in the hands of those monsters from the Abyss.
Can I help you in any way?
First of all, we need to decide what to do with the stone once we get it. What I'm about to say is classified. A traveler came to the city recently. A blind elf calling himself the Storyteller. He insisted he be allowed to examine the Wardstone, and he raised the alarm when his study was finished. Even before the demon attack, he had found some damage or flaw in the stone. Prelate Hulrune dismissed his words as nonsense, borderline blasphemy. But between you and me, the prelate's opinion isn't worth much. I think the Storyteller knew what he was talking about. We could use his advice right now, if only we knew where he was. I remember the Storyteller spent a lot of time talking to Staunton, a dwarf from my unit. You saw him during the demon attack. The elf asked him about the history of the Crusades. Maybe the Storyteller told Staunton something about where we could find him if anything happened. There's another problem. After the attack, the demons began to gather their forces at the Grey Garrison. It'll be even harder to take them with a head-on assault. But I once heard soldiers talking about a secret entrance to the garrison. Trouble is, I have no idea where to look for it. While you explore the city, please keep your eyes open, in case you find something we can use. And one last thing. The Eagle Watch has lost a lot of soldiers recently. Some were killed, but others simply haven't been seen since the attack. In the chaos that is now Canabras, it's next to impossible to confirm anything for sure. One of the missing fighters is Janna Aldori, a new recruit in the Watch. She got along well with Seelah, and she often went drinking with her. I honestly thought Seelah and Janna had died together. But now Seelah's returned with you, and there's no sign of Janna. If you learn anything of her whereabouts when you're out in the city, please report back.
Everything is clear.
May the goddess help you. We're still fighting, which means that Canabras still hasn't fallen. If you come across any groups in the city that can fight, send them here to the Defender's Heart. We'll need every fighter we can muster for the final assault. Yes, one more thing. If you're in the area, check out this address. It's our house. Mine and Anevia's. Well, it was our house. If the building is still standing, open the hidden compartment in the kitchen. It's filled with supplies for a rainy day. You can take whatever you find. You have more need of it.
All right. Actually, let's go ahead and do a full save here. Horgus. Coin. Oh, I always fail that check. No matter how high my charisma is, I fail that check. I hate it. It's a thing for me. I hate failed skill checks. Extremely annoying. I'm not sorry for attacking him in the garrison, but I want to know what he says in response to this. Don't worry about it. Anything can happen in battle, especially when you're dealing with demons. Since we're on the subject, I want to ask what troubles you. That's your business and we'll keep it that way. But I can tell when a person's fighting a losing battle against themselves. And I know something that can help. Here, take this. It's already served me as well as it could. May it do the same for you. Cool. Say about you, I hate you. Evil spit in Staunton's face. Actually, no, we'll go chaotic. Chaotic. You're given the chance to live, so go and live. Stop blaming others. Our character likes it when people bow to demons and do what demons tell them to do. So, she doesn't have any particular problems with Staunton. Whole city fell because of you. You really don't have any friends. So many years have been condemned. Where's the storyteller? I have to go. All right. And you, yep. Who are you? Who is this boy with you? What kind of help can I expect? Show me the scrolls. I don't think I buy anything from you just yet, right? What does that do? If the where has the ice plant hex. Okay. That's something to keep in mind. I didn't remember that from before. Camellia might actually like that. Braces of a wizard. Knowledge Arcana checks, +3. Whatever. That's not something I'm particularly concerned about right now. Alright, non-magical. Oh, wait. We're not at that point yet. I need to actually look through this list until we get some better weapons. And tell me about your people. Like living in caves. Areelu descendants. Hasn't been that long. What do you know about your ancestors? Can't see the sun. Fight. Why is that? Thank you. What do you think of life on the surface? Oh yes, Yes, I also have a few questions for our feckless aristocracy. Just lazy or weak. Yeah, chaotic. But I guess they'll have to wait until we drive demons back to the abyss. Right, okay. I'd like to know more about you. You speak the common well. Would you come with me so you can see the surface again? I want to see what a romance with him is like, so we'll go good. Lann, you're my companion, and companions should trust each other. I'm counting on you to give me honest answers, not excuses. Lann looks ashamed. I guess you're right. I shouldn't have been so evasive. It's just that some things are hard to talk about. My family, for example. That's the same. Yep, you get all this dialogue no matter what, romance or not. Why didn't you try and join the Crusades before? Yeah, would you like to find your mother? Why didn't you try the join before? I am sorry, truly. Your parents loved and survived hardship, but that doesn't mean the same will happen to you. What if you find true love? Someone who won't leave you no matter what? And break my beloved's heart when I die in her arms 5 years later? That's a fine thing to do to the person you love. Then again, there's a chance I'll inspire some tragic bard to write a tearful ballad. Thanks for sharing, Lann. Thanks for listening. Margot's life is short, but you don't look like you're getting old or dying. How old are you? Let's talk about Windowug. Tell me about your connection with Windowug. She doesn't think she's a saddle. Were you friends or more than that? Thank you. I found out what I wanted. And we don't ask him about the horn, because that's mean and cruel. Tell me about your story. Again. Alright, I found out everything I wanted to know. Thank you. You were prepared to risk your life for something meaningful. It's all dialogue that you get no matter what. Thanks for the answer so long. Okay, so it might be Dresden before we start seeing new dialogue from him. But of course, you all are welcome to pause that as you see fit. We will pick that up. Talk to Irabeth. What is our main
You
objective?
heard what the demon said. They're going to desecrate the ward stone and blow up the whole barrier around the Worldwound. That would be an even worse disaster than the Worldwound's expansion before the Second Crusade. Not only Canabris, but every city with a ward stone will be destroyed, including the capital. We can't allow that no matter what. We will retake it, even destroy it if we must. Iomede's gift must not become a weapon of the abyss.
These ward stones, what are they? Oh, okay. So as you can see, they kind of mix in the voice acting here and there. But if I remember correctly, for a lot of the main pivotal main quest conversations, they'll have voice acting, even for some of the villains that you only see once. So that's pretty cool. There wouldn't be, when we got success, when we got up to the surface, there were more cultists in the city than crusaders. What exactly was your order doing? Irabeth lowers her head. We did all we could, but it wasn't enough. The cultists were everywhere from the start, and the demons just razed everything to the ground despite our efforts. I have to go. I hadn't seen that dialogue before because I almost never picked cruel options. Where we look for Aldori. I'd like to know more about you. Tell me about yourself. Where you're from? Come to Mendev along the road. What a feast it'll be. We'll talk when we celebrate our next victory. How in a day. Life is cruel and full of chaos. Sometimes survival just comes down to luck. What are the principles that Paladins must follow? Thank you. What do you think of everything going on in Kennebrez? If we want to win, we can't be mourning our deceased day and night. Plus, joy heals the soul. Let's fighting demons all you want. And thank you. Excellent. Okay. Now, you might have seen this lovely person over here. The circles going around them. This is new. They put in this quest after the update. So, let's give it a whirl. Might have to restart this. There's some skill checks here, and I don't remember how they go. So, we'll see. An imposing young Oryad is surrounded by a crowd of crusaders who are hanging on to her every word. I hope this example clearly illustrates the difference between Jiska, legionnaires from the last war, and the crusaders. The perfection of form and spirit they were imbued with during creation turned them into parts of a well-balanced war machine. Not a ragtag bunch of individuals, but a united whole. And you can read about the Jiska Imperium. Now tell me again why I'm supposed to be impressed by your reckless assaults, where everyone is fighting for their ego and for the right to beat their peers to a swift but pointless heroic sacrifice. Some of the Crusaders grumble unhappily, but it is clear that they are captivated by the woman's words. The only exception is a scraggly and disheveled halfling monk whose puffy black eye gives him away as a brawler and a troublemaker. He enthusiastically pushes forward and tries to engage, but one of his friends swiftly jabs him in the back with an elbow, making the poor fellow pause to catch his breath. Quietly listen to the discussion. One of the Crusaders angrily curls his fist tightly and retorts with a burst of passion. If those gist of yours, or whatever, had come for us, we'd have had their guts for garters. You think we've never fought a mighty adversary before? The soldier's stern facade cannot fully conceal his relish. He clearly plans to enjoy this confrontation. The Crusaders around him look upon their exotic opponent with a mixture of irritation and piqued interest. The woman chuckles before cutting off her interlocutor. I would love to see you storm a 60-foot tall walking castle shaped like a gigantic elephant that carries siege fortifications on its back. And I'll have you know, those fortifications were defended by Discan priest craftsmen armed with demon-bound war machines. They use the enemies you could not defeat as mindless weapons. The woman gives the people around her a triumphant look and adjusts her hair with pointed nonchalance. Her voice takes on a lecturer's tone. You should not argue with someone who happens to be the most authoritative researcher on the history of warfare 3,000 years before the foundation of Absalom. The woman looks at you and flashes an amused smile. The lecture is over. Do my esteemed listeners have any questions? Who are you? I am Endara, a warrior, magus, and scholar of classical warfare from Garund. The woman peers at you apprehensively, then sighs. I admit that I am mildly offended by the fact that my name is entirely unfamiliar to you, but I'm willing to accept that this is due to Avestan's isolation from the sophisticated culture of the world at large. This is about Ron, and I don't think we've had Avestan either. You've come a long way to be here. I like to think of myself as an inhabitant of Golarion, and I don't narrowly identify with any country in particular. Why did you come here? To witness a legendary war. The confrontation between denizens of a plane famous for its love of violence and the Crusaders from every continent, united by the common goal of defending their home. An epic struggle of colossal proportions that hasn't been particularly epic so far, truth be told. The monk with a black eye grins and mutters under his breath. Maybe she just can't see it from here. The view will get way more epic if she stops hiding among us and takes a walk outside. The woman smirks contemptuously. She does not deem the monk's words worthy of comment. It looks like you know more about warfare than any of us. No, we're not doing that. Aren't you the insolent one? I am the impartial one. Not taking part in your conflict allows me to watch it from the outside and form an unbiased opinion. Why don't you join the Crusaders and show them how fighting should be done? No. I am a historian, an analyst, a theorist. Do you know what these three words have in common? They describe a mortal woman who does not participate in the conflict upon which her thesis will be founded. But then again, I will hardly be able to describe this mess as anything other than a feeble likeness of the last war of Jiska. The monk with a damaged eye grins slyly and comments, "The more dangerous the upcoming scuffle is, the more motivated we are to find clever and pretty words to justify not actually doing the fighting." What is this last war that you mentioned? The last war of Jiska, of course, a large-scale conflict that took place 3,000 years before the foundation of Absalom. It was a war against the Osirian Pharaoh of Forgotten Plagues, the war that ended the legendary Jiska Imperium, an epic struggle that became the most vibrant page in military history. Alas, all conflicts that followed it were but a pale shadow, including the one I am witnessing here. Why do you find the last war of Jiska so inspiring? Imagine legions of golems imbued with extraplanar spirits marching into battle. Imagine flying cities that swoop out of the clouds like terrifying monstrous birds of prey to drop forces on top of enemy castles. Picture gigantic mechanisms powered by captive and very angry demons and devils. Imagine standing in the warpath of walking citadels or having to cover your ears to block out the sound of cannons loaded with shrieking elementals. Finally, imagine the ultimate weapon that defended the Jiska, the deadly night plague. This affliction was an attack dog, a trained epidemic, a tamed pestilence, striking only those who its master wanted to kill. Imagine all these terrors and understand that no flight of fancy can even come close to the horror of the nightmares that they made real. How do you know so much about Jiska's last war? I can say without false modesty that there is no more authoritative research on Golarion when it comes to the history of warfare 3,000 years before the foundation of Absalom. I've dedicated my whole life to this subject. I've personally visited old battlefields and studied the most mysterious and forbidden archives containing chronicles of ancient wars, sometimes risking my life in the process. I saw a fallen sky city of the Shori Empire with my own eyes. I ripped out the control crystal from an exterminator-class combat golem that guarded a Jiska laboratory with my own hands. These fingers held the glass flask that the servants of Pharaoh Forgotten Plagues used to create the first generation of pestilence that devastated the Jiska Imperium. How do I know so much? I saw and touched everything I am telling you about. You're wrong to treat the Crusaders with such disdain. Allow me to explain. A debate? Oh, I will be happy to prove that the current conflict can't hold a candle to the last war of Jiska. Very well. The last war of Jiska was waged using a significantly greater number of troops. Both sides actively relied on reinforcements from allied planes, and their strategic planning was perfected through no fewer than 7 rounds of intensive design. None of the above applies to this war of yours. Compared to the Jiska, we are but stone club wielding kobolds. I would like to conclude my thesis with a few words of wise counsel from Doggin, an advisor to the Pharaoh of Forgotten Plagues. I doubt you will comprehend the true genius of his statement, but here it is nevertheless. A gadfly sees the ox. The ox pays no heed to the gadfly, but crimson fever takes them both. The events of the past are shrouded in legend, but the fate of the world is being decided here and now. That is what you fail to grasp. The earnestness on the faces of those around you has taken away Indara's panache, encouraging her to backtrack and stumble over her words. Of course, I'm not trying to diminish the importance of current events. What I am trying to say is that from the standpoint of history, and particularly the history of warfare, she falls silent, fixedly staring at the unfriendly eyes of our audience. The true importance of these developments won't become obvious until later. Indara offers a pretentious dismissal. As a scholar, I cannot deny that there is a certain truth beneath your skeptical statements. History is a complex discipline rooted in fact and an evidentiary base that grows ever more meager the farther the described period is from the present moment. Of course, if I were to argue in bad faith, the way Crusaders embellish their tales of slaying a single Brimarack by adding a dozen Balers, for example, I could win this debate. But I am above such things, and therefore, I am forced to admit that your skepticism is not entirely without merit. Have you changed your mind about joining the Crusaders? I don't see the point. You Crusaders appear to be quite confident in your skills. If nothing else, you presented your arguments to me with extreme confidence. Indara unbuckles her sword belt and hands you the weapon. This is a worthy blade. It will be of use not only for the strong, but also for the wise. And this is where I bid you farewell. Before the end of the day, I was planning to observe how winged demons use pack tactics to drive their prey like herds of livestock. It is about time I got back to my research. The hint of a smile graces Indara's lips when she sees disappointment in the eyes of many Crusaders around her. Stay safe. And there you have it. Hope you all enjoyed that. I have never seen that person again in my playthrough. So, I don't know if she's supposed to have other parts that just aren't in the game yet. I also can't remember seeing another ore yet.